Let's have a summary of the corporate tax, GST, withholding, as well as personal tax in terms of their respective tax rate, reporting target, process of assessment and payment, filing of return including relevant form, and also the additional penalties for non-compliance for easy reference. Tax rate. Corporate tax rate is at a flat rate of 17% with first 3 years exemption scheme applicable for new setup company. GST is currently at 7%. Withholding tax is ranged from 10% to 15% for non-resident company and 10% to 22% for non-resident individual. For personal income tax, it ranged from 0% to 22% with tax reliefs and rebates for Singapore tax residents if meet with the qualifying conditions. Report target. Corporate tax focus on corporate sales, investment, real estate rental income, etc., copyright, income from patent rights and other business income, capital gains, interest income, dividend income, transfer, gift, inheritance, etc., tax-free. GST focus on GST registered company, compulsory registration, retrospective view or prospective view, taxable turnover exceeding 1 million Sing dollar or voluntary registration, import of goods, supplies of goods and services in Singapore, as well as goods that are exported and international services are zero-rated. Whereas for withholding tax, it focuses on non-resident companies, non-resident professionals, non-resident public entertainers, non-resident directors. For personal tax, the targeted group is those individuals with annual income is equal or more than 22,000 Sing dollar or received letter or SMS from IRAS. IRA 21 for foreign and Singapore permanent resident SPR employees who live in Singapore for more than 3 months. Notice for assessment and payment. Corporate tax, ECI has to e-file within 3 months from the financial year end, except companies qualified for the administrative concession. Payment must be made within 30 days from the date of NOA for ECI file. 6 to 10 installments apply for company under Gyro arrangement. Actual tax return has to e-file by 15 December of each calendar year, and payment must be made within 30 days from the date of NOA. For GST, return generally is on quarterly basis according to end of financial year, that is, January to March. Payment is due 1 month after the end of the period covered by the return. For Gyro payment, will be due on 15th of the subsequent month after the payment due date. For withholding tax, filing is due by 15th of the second month from the date of payment or due and payable on contract or agreement. If company are on Gyro for withholding tax payment, the Gyro deduction date is on the 25th of the month the tax is due. Digital confirmation of payment, CP, showing the amount withheld will be available for viewing or downloading in my tax portal within 3 working days upon successful Gyro deduction or 10 working days upon the receipt of payment for other modes of payment. No hard copy CP letter will be sent. The CP will only be issued for payment of withholding tax of 1 Sing dollar and above, and it will not include any late payment penalty amounts. For personal tax, e-file period is from 1st March to 18 April every year, or paper filing by 15 April of each year. Payment is to be made in accordance with the payable date on the NOA, up to 12 installments under Gyro arrangement. For IR21, employer required to file tax clearance and settle tax payment before release final salary to foreign workers or SPR who live in Singapore for more than 3 months. How to e-file of tax return? Online filing is available via the IRAS website for corporate tax, GST, withholding tax, and personal tax. Require form for submission. For corporate tax, the required documents are Form CS Lite or Form CS or Form C. Audited on unaudited financial statements and tax computation with relevant tax schedule. For GST, form to be submitted is GST Form 5 for periodic filing, GST Form 7 applicable for filing of GST error, GST Form 8 final filing for GST deregistration. Withholding tax refer to Form IR37. For personal tax, IRAA, IR21 is required. Additional penalties. For corporate tax, it is an offense if a company fails to file its Form CS Lite or Form CS or Form C together with financial statements and tax computation before the due date. The composition amount range from 200 Sing dollar to 1,000 Sing dollar will be imposed. For non-payment of outstanding tax, range 5% to 12% will be imposed on the unpaid tax amount. For GST, late submission penalty 5% of the calculated tax amount when the report is delayed, and range 200 Sing dollar to 10,000 Sing dollar for GST return if it is not filed before due date. Further late payment penalty range 5% to 50% will be imposed for each month that the tax remain unpaid. For withholding tax, late payment penalty 5% and subsequent 1%, not existing 15% of total tax outstanding for each completed month will be imposed. For personal tax, estimated notice of assessment NOA will be issued by IRAS. Payment must be made within 1 month. Offer to compound the offence with composition amount not existing 1,000 Sing dollar and summon to court.